Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a post-match pint in association with Purity Ale. If you use the code hashtag Villa View, you'll be able to get 10% off all Purity's beer and ale goodness. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined by Neil Dunworth to talk over Wolves 2, Aston Villa 1. I've no idea why I'm smiling because there's absolutely nothing to smile about. And just a little pre-warning before we start, John Insley is producing tonight, so literally anything could happen. Are we even live at the moment? I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll give it a go. Neil, how are you?
I'm okay. I've talked out a good bit of some of the frustrations that I had about Saturday. It was a frustrating one because the two goals were just like they were blooper reel goals, and that's what really kills me more so than anything else. Because while Wolves came and they huffed and puffed, like if we can keep goals out like that, we stand a chance. But when we don't, we might as well just forget it.
Let's delay talking about the game and start with some good news because Matty Cash has signed a new contract today. That's pleasing news. It warded off the interest from Atletico Madrid a little bit. I do believe that was a genuine thing. So Matty Cash will be here next season. One of the players that Gerrard seemed really pleased with. I mean, Gerrard was cross after the game and said, if players don't do what I want, basically, then I'll get in some players that do what I want. I'm assuming now, Neil, that Matty Cash is one of the ones that's been doing what Steven Gerrard wants.
You'd have to believe it. 5 years, 5-year contract. Yeah. If it follows a trend that the club have done recently, signing down players like, even I know we signed Jack Grealish year on year to deals, but if it does nothing else other than protect their value, I'm all for that too. But this looks like it's going to be somebody who's going to be staying around for the long haul or for the overhaul, whatever way you want to look at it in the coming season. He's been, he's going to go to the World Cup with Poland. Obviously, there's going to be eyes on him there. So I think that this is a shrewd move from the club to kind of reiterate that the project still isn't, a couple of losses to the likes of Wolves and West Ham and things like that ain't going to derail the project. I think the club are a small bit, how will I put it? The club are a small bit more affable to where things are going. I think based on bringing a manager in mid-season, I think they always knew there was the propensity to maybe tread water maybe for a part of this season, albeit they did say that they wanted progression, and Matty Cash is going to be with that for the next season as well. So along with like Emi Martinez, they've signed deals this season. So good news altogether, I think, when you get to tie down a player and also increase their value in the meantime.
Another frustrating weekend though, Neil. Villa are either really good or really bad. Seems to be the way at the moment. There's no in between. We barely ever draw a game. Came moderately close to salvaging a point at the weekend, but it didn't happen at the end of the game. But also that bad old habit of once you ship one, we concede another one straight after, and just bad goals, just a bad first half. We actually started the first 5 minutes with a little bit of intent, and I thought, okay, I like this. They're walking the walk of the talk that was given in the earlier on in the week. But then, as has happened so often, a little bit of adversity, and we just go to pieces. And you will not see 2 worse goals conceded in a game, I don't think. And you definitely won't see 5 worse goals conceded against a single opposition across the entirety of the season. All 5 goals against Wolves. Absolute disaster class from Villa.
Yeah, the 2 goals we conceded at the weekend were more infuriating than goals I've seen this season. And the reason being is because they came from 2 players who were full of experience, who are 2 leaders within the team. And both of them showed a complete another lack and devoid of footballing intelligence. And that's what kills me. The clarity in the leadership, or the leadership and intelligence that you need on the field to draw a game even. Sometimes we just don't have it. Like John McGinn takes the ball into 3 players in the middle of midfield. He's playing as a number 6. It looked like maybe he was number 1, he was out of position for what I feel a number 6 should be. I don't know where he was told to play. He ran into 3 players when he's the man who should be shielding the back 4. Lost the ball. Ball goes, they get the ball over to the right-hand side and play a crossfield ball. Konza tries to arc his neck to get to a ball. It was a good 6-7 feet over his head. He needed to stay on his feet, turn around and front up his man. That didn't happen. Ming slips at the back post. Just a calamity of errors. But for me, that goal doesn't get conceded if John McGinn literally just plays the safe ball and goes back. And that's what we need. We don't need Ryder overs. We don't need Ryder overs in the 15th minute of a game, or what was it? 15th, 8th minute? When did we concede? I can't remember when the first minute, seventh,
8th minute. It was early doors.
Yeah, you don't need that away from home. You need somebody to put their foot in the ball, keep it, frustrate the opposition. They were coming into a game without their big striker. They were coming into a game without their most, sought after midfielder, Ruben Neves. They were down their right back. We needed to keep our foot in the game and our foot in the ball there and frustrate them, draw them out, and then see if we can pick them off in the counter attack. We certainly didn't need to force it by running into midfield. Their midfield three in that instance. So for me, that was frustrating. And then the second goal, what can you say about a man who stoops down at the back post?
And he slipped as well. He slipped, didn't he, as well? Which kind of hit him on the head, I think. It's a terrible, terrible goal to concede. But I do think he slipped as well. And that was the story of the first half. Villa players just falling over. It's like when the Villa View played at Villa Park in indoor football shoes. Like everyone just spent the whole half on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was saying. But yeah, the Wolves players were not falling over.
That's a good point.
That tells me that the pitch was overly wet, which is fine. Wolves can do what they want. And Wolves' players were prepared for that with their footwear. And Villa weren't. I know that sounds very, very basic and very simple, but that was honestly what it looked like. I've never seen so many players fall over in a football match from one team. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Jacob Ramsey spent a good portion of the game on the ground as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, I suppose, players arrive to games, they've got 4 or 5 different sets of boots with 4 or 5 different stud lengths, stuff, whatever. So for me, that was just coincidental, I think, more than anything else. But it just affected us. It's what happens to Aston Villa Football Club, following Aston Villa for 30 years. And, this stuff happens to us. This just, it just happens. We have these games
so
where we can't field, and it's the curse of following Aston Villa, whereby you have to just put up with it at times. But regardless of the slips, like Konza slip, Mings slip, and I know McGinn did slip as well when he took that ball into contact. But it's much maligned at times, but sometimes you just ping one into the corner and hope that Bailey can run onto it, as opposed to trying to take it on yourself. Sometimes ugly football gets you results. And we need a draw. Like, we need a draw from somewhere at times this season, and we just haven't gotten it. And that's the frustrating part.
Yeah, we can't turn those losses into draws, can we? It's just even if just half, not even half, even a third of them, you just turn some of the 0 points into one, and you're looking a little bit clever in the league table. I mean, as it happens, I actually think our leveraging's a little bit false. In that I think we might be too high. I genuinely think. I genuinely think the standard of the Premier must not be great if we are where we are at the moment. I just think we're an average side. We are a mid-table side. I get that, but I think to even get up to last season's points, I think we've got to win 6 or 7 of the last 8 games. 6 games, 6 from 8. Is it? We've got to win to match last season's total. We were quite actually unlucky to finish 11th last season. This season, I think we'd be a little bit lucky to finish 11th.
I don't. I think that we can.
We've lost 16 games. We've lost 16 games. That's 1 less than Everton.
We've won 11 games, which is 2 more than Crystal Palace.
That's true. You could look at it both ways. But the way things are at the moment, I'm looking at the losses column and saying that we've lost 3 more games than Newcastle. They haven't won a game till December.
Yeah,
it's not good. 16 defeats, and that's the other thing is it's two different managers. So for me. Yes, you got to kind of look at you have to kind of look at the players.
Bang, nail in the head.
I think that's what I think. And obviously you agree with me, which is good.
I do. I agree with you. And just on the draws part, and I've come prepared, and I said it on my own podcast. I argue, and it's up for arguing with regards to this, but we've lost 16 games, and I can name arguably 8 games where if we had a bit more nous, specifically, and a bit more leadership to put our foot in the ball or even get a bit nasty on the field, that we could have come away with draws. And there were Watford at home when we lost 1-0. We should never have lost that game. Never mind not drawing it. That was just a travesty. Leeds when we're up 3-1. Shouldn't be drawing that game. We should be winning that game. We've Wolves at home where we were up 2-0, lost 3-2. Newcastle away where Kieran Trippier's free kick goes in off Emi Buendia's tie, but we did nothing all game.
I will say we were absolutely gashed that day, and I accepted the defeat.
But I'm okay with teams outplaying us. But when we lose 1-0 to kind of a free kick like that, where we're even the wall was set up incorrectly and everything, there was just so many things wrong. It's very silly. Arsenal at home, we were battered as well from a lot of points, but Saka scores the goal, and then it takes us to the last 5 minutes to come back. And they're arguably that. But like what I'm saying is, if we got a bit nasty, if we got a bit of a bruiser in midfield, if we had a bit of a leader that was able to say, lads, put our foot in the ball here, keep possession, don't let them get the ball.
Just press teams, put teams under a little bit of pressure. That's what Palace have done tonight. They beat Arsenal 3-0. They've just pressed quite high. 100%. Arsenal couldn't get out, and they've won the game 3-0. They've got some very good players. Crystal Palace and Vieira's done a very, very good job there in his first season. So He's turned some players that were already there into better players, and they've made some smart signs, and they look at a vibrant side. When we lose, I don't look at us and think that's a vibrant side. When we win, Southampton, for example, I think, with the makings of a really good team there. But then you'll have these performances. I've brought it up countless times now. Tyrone Mings said at the evening with Tyrone Mings, we're a mid-table side. It's not where we want to be. We'll win some games. We'll lose some games. But it's just going on these losing runs.
That's the killer. That's the killer.
We'll lose the next 2 or 3. And you can't. That's where you just need to pick up a point from somewhere to not have these losing runs. But we've just been incapable of doing that all season. So we might win a few games, then invariably we'll go on and lose 3 or 4. That's why we are where we are. But that's a mentality problem. And again, I say it again, it's under 2 managers, so you have to look at the players.
Yeah, like we're in danger. We lose to Spurs, we lose to Leicester. That would be 2 5-game losing streaks that we've gone on. Yeah, it'd actually be 3.
You would be
3 then because Dean Smith went on 1, and then Jared will have gone on 2.
Yeah, and that's not a good position to be. That's why I'm saying to you, I think we're in a false position. I think we're perhaps too high.
But you see, I don't know, are we? Because we've still gone out and won 11 games. We've gone out and won those games. So I think
it doesn't feel like we've won 11 games. I know that sounds stupid, but it doesn't feel like we've won 11 games this season to me.
It's the up and down. It's the roller coaster of emotion that we've had. We won 3 in a row, then we lost 5 in a row, and it's just sometimes and that's the feeling that it comes. Like if we had won a game, lost a game, won 2 games, lost 2 games, won a game, lost a game, that kind of a situation, we'd feel a bit better because it would have been spaced out. But it's very much sugar highs and sugar lows that we have at the moment. I think with winning games in groups and losing games in groups as well, and it's frustrating. But the big thing is, like, and I never thought, we've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. Draws will be our best friend between now and the end of the season. Draws against when we're not supposed to win. So, like, I expect us to win against Norwich. I would be fully expecting us to go out and beat Burnley twice. I think that we've got too much quality in our team not to be able to do that. So there's 3 wins. We could sneak a draw against Palace. We could sneak a draw against Leicester. We could be the best thing in the world if we went to the empty-headed and last day of the season, snuck a draw there and ended up them finishing second.
Dream on now, come on.
But City was on my list as well. We lost 2-1 to City. If Carney Chukwuemeka slides it past Ederson, we draw 2-2 with City.
But that game was a rare game this season where we went behind, and we were 2-0 down. We didn't capitulate. We got ourselves back in the game early in the second half, and we had a good go. And we looked dangerous. We caused one of the best teams in the world real problems. Those days haven't happened in 2022, really. When we were losing under Gerrard when he first came in, we were saying that was a good performance. I could see what he's trying to do here. And this isn't I'm not knocking Gerrard at all, but in 2022 when we've lost, it's mainly been we weren't very good there at all, and that's a bit concerning.
There are echoes, I think, of the 2021 season, turn of the year. We kind of seem to lose all our fluff as well. And there's an argument to be made that that's happened at the turn of the year this year as well.
But there was, you look back at that, there was a reason for that, and that was clearly that Jack Grealish was on the treatment table.
Yeah.
What's the reason here? I don't. Nakamba being out is the only thing that's really changed from those early days under Steven Gerrard. I think he walked straight back into the team on Saturday against Spurs. I think he'll definitely play now. I thought let's go back. We should probably talk about the Wolves game a little bit more rather than the season in general. I don't want to. I presume the McGuinness Lone 6 experiment will probably never, ever happen again. Gerrard said that Sanson played because he's been good in training for a while now, and it wasn't fair for him to keep sitting on the bench. Whether you're right, Louise, or not, without Nakamba, he's the best 6 that we've got. So leaving him out, that didn't really work.
Yeah, I agree. And look, that to me probably shows as well that the vision for this and the vision for what players we have, like the fact that Jared came out and said, Sanson has been playing well in training for a while, so we gave him a go. We gave him a run against Wolves. Bailey looked like he was given a run. Like the reason, like it would have made way more sense to bring in Buendia and play 2 10s when Ings was out, but he gave Bailey a run as a striker as well. And to me, that kind of says that, okay, let's see what these guys are made of. We still fully expect to go out here and get a result, and we're not throwing a game or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say here, but he's kind of saying, right, guys, put your money where your mouth is here now. And if you guys want to stick around, well, then go out and have a game. And Sanson played okay. He had 26 pressures or something. I think that's the most pressures of any player this season. But he was pressuring players on the ball, but they were still getting their passes away, So I'm skeptical of the pressure rate at times But no, fair play to Sanson. You know, it's hard to come in off the bench every so often, but when you get a start, he looked okay. He looked okay.
It wasn't a problem.
No, it didn't blow me away, but once again, you know, didn't do anything wrong
did?
either. Like, you know,
but I would say for Sanson now, it's no good throwing him for one game. And then if he comes out the next game, you know, he needs to play a few in a row. That's the only way you're gonna see what he's about. So he has to have a little run in the team. Now, the thing I disagree with, and again, it's easy to always say these things after a game when you've been poor. If he wants to put Sanson in, then take McGinn or Ramsey out. Don't then move McGinn into a position that just doesn't suit him at all, and that you know has arguably cost us the first goal at the start of the game. That isn't John McGinn. He is not a lone number 6. That just isn't his game at all. His best performances this season have been when Nakamba was playing as a 6, and there was someone to break up the play, and he felt a little bit more sure going forward, and he could get forward, he could get involved in the game. I think he scored in Gerrard's second game. He was really, really good against Leicester at home. Since Nakamba's not been there, McGinn's good games you can probably count on one hand, maybe even a couple of fingers. And that's not me being harsh. They just haven't been there. And I love John McGinn. I set high standards for him because I know he's such a good player. But the performances haven't been there from him. So if you're going to put Sanson in, don't then take the person who's best at playing defensive midfield that you've got available, Louise, out. And then you end up having to bring Louise on anyway. It's just, you know, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Just even if you don't want to take McGinn out, take Ramsey out for a couple of games. You know, he's played for under 21s. You know, he's probably tired. It's been a long season for him. He's played a lot more games than he would have anticipated. I just don't get the point of bringing Sanson in and then having to play someone else completely out of position. And then in the next game, either Louise or Nakamba will be back as a 6, and Sanson will probably be on the bench, and you've learned absolutely nothing from making those changes.
I genuinely, I literally don't have anything to add to that other than, you know, maybe we know what we're getting from Jacob Ramsey from here on in. If he is going to start doing experiments, you know, specifically against Spurs, Leicester, maybe that's the time that you give Ramsey a break, bring him back in against Norwich, bring him in for the 2 Burnley games, bring him in against Palace. But, you know, we know what we're getting from Ramsey and it's good things. You know, but we need to find out whether Sanson can play. Ramsey isn't going to be sold, not in the month of Sundays. McGinn probably won't be sold, so maybe you could drop McGinn as well for a couple of games and see what Louise can give you in an 8 role with Nakamba behind him and Sanson beside him. And I don't think there's anything we lost there. You know, it's about finding the right combination. You might strike gold for a game, and they might all work, but at the moment, our midfield they don't click. Don't click anymore. And when they don't click, Coutinho is just a stranded passenger there in the middle of midfield.
Because he doesn't get the ball in positions. He doesn't get balls in dangerous positions. Because even when the centre backs pick up the ball, you kind of feel at the moment that, you know, Mings is as likely to pick a pass as any of the midfielders. That's how I feel when he's on the ball. But the distances are wrong again. When we've been good this season, I thought the distances were good between the whole team. Again, I think the distances were good in the first half, and when the distances haven't been good, invariably we've lost football matches this season, especially under Gerrard. It's just not there. The midfield is a massive problem. It's a huge one. It was so open. Wolves in that first half could have scored another 1 or 2 at least. I would say we didn't. Dendoncker skewed one on his left foot. They looked dangerous though every time they came forward. You know, if anyone was going to get that next goal at 2-0 in the first half, it wasn't going to be Villa. We did nothing. I mean, I did a tweet after 30 minutes that I got absolutely slated for. I love Twitter. Absolutely love the place at times. When Villa are doing badly, it's not a safe place for me on social media. But I don't think Bailey did anything brilliant by any stretch of imagination. But, you know, he had one drive into the box and created a chance, and he had one shot from range. Basically, he was the only person that did anything in an attacking sense in that first half. In that first half an hour, that's what I was trying to say. But maybe my wording wasn't the best, and I got slayed. And to be fair, he did go on and not have a very good game at all. But he wasn't alone in that. And again, he probably needs a run, because without a run, you aren't going to see the best of him. It's no good him coming out for the next game. Now he's got 90 minutes under his belt. He needs another 1 or 2 games of playing a high level of minutes. We ain't going to see anything from these players that you know, whose future probably hangs in the balance unless they're given proper game time. It's no good 1 game play, 1 game not, 1 game come on, 1 game sit on the bench. That really hasn't worked for us all season. I do think Buendia, though, is unlucky to be on the bench at the moment. He's been like one of the positives in 2 of the last 3 that we've lost when he's come on, and that you do feel that he's made an impact off the bench. I was surprised to see him come on for Coutinho. I mean, Coutinho was doing absolutely nothing, but I was still surprised that Buendia came over him. But again, towards the end of the game, Buendia was our liveliest player.
I agree. Yeah, he's That's how exactly how I would describe him. He got in around, he found little spaces in between the two lines. He did more than Coutinho did in the game. And yeah, like, and that kind of beggars the belief that maybe we should have started with Buendia, but then again, maybe this was in Jared's head all along to say, okay, we'll see what Bailey can do here. As I said, like he was with Sanson, start him instead of bringing him on for 10 minutes. Because, with a speed player like Bailey, yes, it either goes right for you, it goes wrong for you in those 10 minutes, but you might only get the ball 2 or 3 times in those 10 minutes that you come on for. So start him, see if he can affect the game, see if he can use his pace to get in behind people. But then the issue comes that when Mings is going along with it from time to time, and when our midfield just isn't getting any passing with it going, and our left back goes off after 10 minutes, who is a real attacking outlet for us on that side. He's picking once again, like Coutinho, he's picking up in positions that are unfamiliar to him, or positions he doesn't want to be with his back to goal, and he can't build up his pace or his head of steam. So I firmly believe it's fixable. But it does need a transfer window to fix it, and there's the problem. So we're kind of grinding to a halt between now and the end of the season, but there are still winnable games, I think, as we go forward.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins it was that scored Villa from the penalty spot. Not sure it was a penalty, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it's been since the second game of the season that we've had one, so we will take anything we can get. It wasn't good enough to get us a point from the game, but he stepped up and scored it. But before that, two big chances really that he didn't tuck away. It's almost like it felt like he had too much time to think about them now.
Yeah, the one where he's 1-on-1, and he puts it to the right hand side of the post. That was poor. Yes, I agree. But then again, he's not an instinctive striker either. So sometimes he goes straight for the goalkeeper. So I like the fact that he actually tried to arc his body and try and bend it into the corner. But it didn't come off for him, and that's something we needed him to score there. And when he didn't score there, the writing was on the wall slightly. But it was good position that he got into, and you would expect him to score. And if he's going to book his place to Qatar, he needs to be putting those back in the back of the net. So hopefully he gets more chances like that to make amends. But 2-2, as you say, if he scores that and we go on to win 2-2, we could feel a small bit more chipper today, because that would have been a game that we wouldn't have, we shouldn't have really gotten anything out of, but we could have come away with a point, if that makes sense.
Gerrard spoke about taking 60 or 70 minutes to realise it's a derby. He's very honest in his post-match, to be fair, Gerrard. He usually says what I'm thinking. He doesn't hold back, and some of the players might not like what he says after the games at times, but it's true, really. First half, we didn't lay a glove on Wolves. We didn't put a tackle in, and that's the disappointing thing when it is a derby game. It's not the biggest derby that we play in, no, but it's there's a little bit of pride playing in against another team from the West Midlands. You want to go there and make a stamp on the game. And as soon as we went 1-0 down, all that went out the window in the first half, and it just that lack of fight that's concerning, because that's not what I would associate with the Steven Gerrard team. Just not laying a glove on a team, not realising it's a derby game. That's poor.
And that's probably where it came from, where his frustrations came from, where he said, "You guys are going to need to help me fix this. And if you don't, I'll find players who will."
Yeah. But that's quite a brave thing to say.
Hugely brave.
In a post-match, because players don't like things like that. They do not like things like that at all.
But I think he's broken character twice. I can't remember the last time, but I remember he almost apologized for it in the next interview that he did, that he kind of let his frustration boil over. And he let his frustration boil over again here. And I'm kind of okay with it in a way, because he doesn't really have anything to lose. Because if he does have certain players' cards marked.
Was it the Newcastle game? Was it after the Newcastle game?
Yeah.
That was another game where he was slumped in the dugout, and he spent quite a high proportion of this game slumped in the dugout in the first half as well, just as if to say, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And I look, a lot of people, he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. When he comes out and he says something like that, people go, "Oh, he shouldn't have really said that. It's a small bit unprofessional, and you criticizing it behind closed doors and you praise in public." But then when he comes out and he says, "Yeah, I know this is something we need to do, and I'm going to be the one to fix it," he's getting kind of tired with the brush of, rinse and repeat and just keep on saying the same thing. Like we go again with Lambert, or, whatever. I can't remember what Dean Smith's one was, but every manager has one.
I can't remember. I can remember some of Steve Bruce's.
Yeah.
About the daffodils coming up. Well, I mean, the daffodils are coming up now, aren't they? And we're not really in the hunt. We're not really in the hunt for anything. The daffodils are coming up. We're not going to go down. We're not going to finish. I just wanted to beat Wolves because I wanted to give ourselves a chance of finishing above them.
Yeah.
It would have been if we'd have won that game and won our game in hand against Burnley. That's gone now.
It would have been a 6-point swing. Would have meant there would have been 7 points between us, and it would have given us a fighter's chance. But
the Mind the Gap trophy will be going to Molineux again this season. That newly created trophy that's only existed for 4 or 5 years. Didn't exist for the rest of time. From 1874 onwards, we didn't talk about the Mind the Gap trophy, but a few times Wolves finished above us, it came, and we've only won it once since.
Yeah.
Another trophy disappointment now.
Another trophy disappointment. Yeah, we still have to harken back to the Peace Cup. Wasn't it the Peace Cup?
Cup of Traditions, don't forget that.
Cup of Traditions. I do apologize.
I imagine that's been thrown away. I imagine they probably had to get a skip to throw it away because it was so big. But I imagine that trophy has been thrown away. I don't imagine it would be on display anywhere because it was absolutely huge. But yeah, you just wanted to try and have something to play for at the end of the season. There's always pride. When they say, "Oh, this team's clearly on the beach." I don't want to be one of those teams going into the end of the season. I mean, to be fair, a few years ago, I'd have killed to be a team on the beach because we were either fighting to stay up or desperately trying to get out of the championship. So you should be careful what you wish for, really. But I don't want to be an on the beach team. I want to have something to play for at the end of the season. I want to be pushing to finish top 8. And, if we finish 9th, that's our joint best finish since 2011. We can still do that, I guess. But I don't really know how much credence players put on stuff like that.
I don't see us as a team on the beach. I see us as a nervous team. I see us as a team who I thought at the weekend
only when things are adverse. There's a bit of adversity. Correct. I would say yes. If we score first, well, we're a lot of fun to watch. Like in that Southampton game, like the Leeds game away recently. If we score Brighton as well, if we score first, suddenly everyone's full of confidence. And I know that could be associated with a lot of football teams, but it's if anything adverse happens to us, it's been that's been this way for a while now. Just I feel like more adverse things used to happen to us a few years ago. We go into our shells and we're not there. If we go 1-0 up, we'll usually go on and win that game.
And that's where the leadership comes in, And I'm not I'm not here and I'm not criticizing Tyrone Mings or anything like that. But I said like those 2 goals that we conceded at the weekend. Now John McGinn takes that into an absolutely silly position. He's our vice captain. Our most experienced player, who's got 36 caps for England, has won the Premier League, has won 2 Scudettos, or 1 Scudetto anyway, at least with Inter. Heads the ball in at the back post. Just didn't have mind left. The both of them, their mind left them for whatever period of a millisecond.
I do think you've been a little bit harsh on Young because I do think he slips and then he just kind of just panics. I get what you're saying. I suppose if he panics, then what you're saying is true.
But yeah, so it's going to end up in a blooper reel, regardless of what happens, So, and that's where it is. We'll hopefully bring in some experienced players or players with a small bit of steeliness in them, and that's not having a go at this team. But I just think we need one person. I think we just need one person to be able to put their foot in the ball or put their foot straight through someone's chest at some stage and just take the bull by the scruff of the neck. We're very nice in midfield and we're very nice at centre half at times. And that's okay. We can be nice in one of those 2 areas, but we can't be nice in both of them. And that kind of hinders us in one way or another. And hence we aren't taking control of games, or we aren't deciding that a draw is enough for us here, So I don't know. It'll be an interesting transfer window, and I think I think the noises out of Villa Park are good. The names that are coming out, provided that they don't build up a head of steam for themselves, that they can't put their money where their mouth is. But I do think we will see some exciting names come through. I do think that we will see some names that will change the way this team plays. And but the big problem here is we have to wait 8 games for that, and I don't want to have to wait 8 games or 9 games, however many is left. I want to be competitive within those games.
I do think there'll be some high-profile casualties in the summer. I've heard a couple of little bits and pieces, and I do think there'll be a couple of transfers out that might surprise people in the summer, because Villa are going to have to make some money from somewhere as well. You can't just go out and splurge money every single transfer window. And to be honest, that's what Villa have done pretty much since they've been in the Premier League. There's been a big amount of money spent. I know we got 100 million back for Grealish, but we wouldn't be able to go and spend a load of money in the summer without making some money on somewhere and making a profit on someone that we've bought in the last few years. So I think, from what I hear, I think there will be a couple of players perhaps leave that will surprise people. So it's definitely going to be an interesting summer at Villa Park. Hopefully an interesting last 8 games, although I'm not going to bank on it after the last few. Villa are playing Spurs, of course, on Saturday at Villa Park. Annoying tea time kickoff. I do not like a tea time kickoff at all, so that's frustrated me a little bit. So, Neil, you'll be doing a team sheet tantrum, and he swore them completely by mistake. A team sheet tantrum before the game on the Villa View on Saturday. I suppose we'll have a match preview up at some point as well for the Spurs game in the week. But Neil, you'll be doing that, and then of course there'll be the post-match point at some point after the Spurs game as well. So look out for that. Thanks to Neil for joining me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. As usual, we've solved absolutely nothing, but we spoke for half an hour and tried to avoid talking about the game as much as possible. Hopefully those that have tuned in have enjoyed it. Do join us again. And as always, up the Villa.